Well, it might be the toughest match reaction I'm ever going to do, but just like the game itself, it was a tough ask for Celtic, but we walk away from Dingwall with 3 points, and that's what matters most. Despite how much of the second half you and me may have got to see with the streams, we got the 3 points, so it's all that matters. Right, this is, as I said, a very tough reaction to do. The second half was a monstrosity to watch, to say the least. The streams for Celtic TV were down and out for the majority of it. So, accumulatively, I think I've seen about 5 minutes of the second half. I missed the Ross County goal. I missed both of Celtic's winning goals. This is a very difficult reaction to do, so excuse me for being very scarce in my overall review of the game. There's not much we can do about it, but one thing I think it highlights, and before we even talk about the game, is the situation in this country when it comes to watching football. And I know for a fact there'll be Ross County fans, there'll be fans of other clubs in Scotland who have to deal with this every single week. But when you've got tens of thousands of supporters weekly, supporting all different clubs who can't even get a sniff of their team's action because it's not televised, or there's no easy way to watch it, they're having to resort to illegal streams, that's a problem in itself. There is no excuse for that. The SPFL have got a terrible broadcasting deal which allows for no wiggle room, and it traps so many fans out of... They're trying to drill through, and this was a great point from John McGinley earlier on Twitter, so shout out to John of 67 Hail Hail, about how the SPFL are very much trying to crack down on illegal streaming and fans watching in ways that aren't through official broadcasting outlets. Well, you've got to start by giving fans a way to watch their teams. And I don't know what the solution to that is. I'm not one of the head men, but there has to be an easier way for fans to access it. The only way you could see that game today is if you were there. And when you've got a club the size of Celtic, and the same with Rangers, who've got so many supporters trying to watch it, and they're trapped out from watching their team, it makes things incredibly annoying. And it's a very petty thing to moan about, of course. We're lucky enough that we get the football in the first place. But it's just, yeah, it's a mess, an absolute mess. Watching that second half was painful more than anything, especially with the circumstances of waiting for those late winners. And Celtic TV was of no use either with that crashing. So sort it out, Celtic. Get that TV. You're the biggest club in the country and you can't even get a working TV service. Come on, please. Despite that, Celtic do walk away with the 3 points, a hard-fought one up at Dingwall, and it was always going to be. I said that in my preview yesterday. There was nothing in that game that would suggest to me Celtic were going to go up and stroll it. Yeah, it was about trying to control it, dictate it at our own pace, and do what we usually do. But Ross County, fantastic season last year, and they've shown so far in both their opening games, despite losing both now to Hearts and us Celtic, that they're going to be a thorn in the side this year, definitely. They brought the game to Celtic, they made life difficult for us, they were very resolute, and we found it difficult, especially in that first half from what I got to see. They made it really difficult for us to break them down and find a way in the final third to score goals. So we managed to fight through it, and a couple of standout performers in that game which really carried us over the line to see those 3 points. There was that sort of flashback to the game last year when Ralston scored the last winner. The last minute winner, the fact that we had to hold on so long, the fact we had to try and break them down on that very compact pitch, it was all flooding back to me and I hated it. And honestly, when it was around the 80th minute before Jens got that goal, despite the fact I was listening to it on the radio, I thought it was going to be the same again. I thought that, to be honest, I was thinking we were staring down the eyes of dropping points in the second game of the season, which wouldn't have been an absolute disaster. Last year we lost 3 of our opening 6. I don't think we would have had to hit panic stations or nothing, but when you see that your closest rivals are winning and you're going to drop points, it's not a nice feeling. So it was all coming back to me, and the thoughts and the scares of dropping points were certainly there. But we were very deserving of our win, and despite seeing very little of the second half, it was a Celtic team who did go out there and get the 3 points that they deserved. I thought Ange was very good with his substitutes through the game. We'll talk about that, of course. Abada scores a late goal to secure the 3 points. We just had to be patient, and that's one thing about this Celtic team, the never stop attitude. You know, I think years gone by, it's been very difficult to get bogged down. It's been very easy for Celtic to kind of lose interest in the game and run out of ideas, but we kept going, we kept hammering away, and that's what got us the 3 points at the end of the day. It'd be a cheek to call this a 3 things we've learned, because the one thing that I've learned is that I would like a better TV service. Yes, that's pretty much the main thing. But we'll talk about the first half. Celtic to me weren't great. I'm not going to lie, I think there was still signs of sluggishness that we've seen in periods of the game last week. You know, Ange was very critical against Aberdeen despite winning the game. He said he wasn't too happy with it. He expected more, he expects better. And I think we've seen a lot of that still in the first half. And I was happy with the win last week, but I can definitely see where the frustrations lie with the manager. And I think there was a lot more of that in the first half. We were really, we were good at playing out from the back. We were good at keeping a hold of the ball, and the possession stat was something like 80% to Celtic in the first half. That's all well and good, but in the final third, we were lacking that little bit. I think that the end ball could have been better at times. We have to be better at making... So we'll start with the first half then, because at least I got to see the entirety of that. At least I can speak about that with a bit of knowledge, you could say, because I've seen it. It wasn't a great opening 45, and I think that we've seen a lot of the same signs of sluggishness that Ange was not happy about from the game last week against Aberdeen. And don't get me wrong, I thought last week was fine. I thought we were great. We got the 3 points. But Ange was very critical. He said he expected more. He could have been happier with the performance, and that was understandable. And I think a lot of that shone again in the first half of this game. We looked like, we had a great grip on the game. We were firmly in control. We were dominating possession. I think we ended the half with something like 80% of the ball. But when you're not doing so well with the ball in the final third, that's where the cause for concern comes in. And I think in that final third, we just didn't have the right ideas at times. Our end ball wasn't great. I think we have to do better at creating more clear-cut chances. But I think credit is deserved to Ross County in that part, because, as I said earlier in the video, they were defensively very astute. They were compact. They were making things difficult on that tight surface for Celtic. And it was difficult for, I think we've seen the likes of Maida and Jota in the first half. And Jota had a brilliant game. We'll come on to him. Second half, he really lit it up. But I think in the first half, we've seen how difficult it was for the wingers to come into play a wee bit more. And Kyogo wasn't really getting as much service as we'd normally like, because when we were sending balls in, Ross County were dealing with them relatively well, I thought, in that first half. So, I think there is still signs of improvement to come from Celtic. It's early days, of course. I don't think, once again, panic stations are called for yet. But through the first half, there was certainly signs of, I'm not going to say disinterest, but it looked as though we were just losing ideas as the half went on, and it kind of trailed into the half-time whistle with no real inspiration. I thought, we had a good hold of it, but you need more than that sometimes. We're playing it out from the back really well. I thought defensively, and from the defence onwards, we looked great, but we needed a wee bit more. We needed a spark or something to light up the game, and we got that early on in the second half. I think from the first half and then until he was subbed off in the second half, one of the players I was most disappointed with, because once, I think I'll say the same things I said against Aberdeen last week. I don't think there was many players who had a bad performance today, but one player I was disappointed with was David Turnbull. He just couldn't quite find himself in the game, and it was a big opportunity for him to step up with Rio Hatate being injured. He was obviously put into the starting 11, favoured in the side today, and I think a lot of people went in with high expectations for him, and he didn't quite deliver on that. And we've seen through the first half that it was difficult for him. I thought Matt O'Reilly was far more involved, and that's Matt O'Reilly's a great player. You're going to expect Matt O'Reilly to get involved in the game, but I just thought Turnbull was lost in periods of it. And I don't think that's that's not I think that's going to affect us for too long. Turnbull's a great player, played well when he came on last week, and I'm sure going forward from this he'll be fine. He'll play well. But I was disappointed with him today. I thought he could have offered a bit more. I thought in the midfield three today we did look a little bit kind of off it. We weren't the same. There wasn't the same fluidity in the midfield three today. I think that we were better playing out from the back. The defenders had a good game. We were trying to get the wingers involved, but in the midfield we were just missing that something, especially more in the first half. I don't know. It just didn't seem like it was clicking the way it normally does. But Turnbull he disappointed me a wee bit. And one of the big things from the first half, which I'm now seeing a lot of on social media that we should probably touch on here, is from here on out, I think Jota. And this isn't me taking a dig at Maida, absolutely not, but I think Jota has to start on the left. I feel like he is being wasted a little bit in that right-hand side. His natural position is as a left winger. And Abada, he's too good to be benched every week. Nothing on Dyson Maida, nothing at all, because I think he is a great player. I think he's given us a lot. But I think Maida might have more of an impact coming off that bench, maybe even more of an impact on that right-hand side. You've seen the difference in the player Jota is in the first and second half when he switched from the right to the left. And a lot of people are bringing it up on social media, and I don't want to quickly jump on the bandwagon or condemn Maida and say this is what has to happen. But when you get 3 assists in the second half playing in your natural position, it is a bit eye-opening. It is a little bit of a question has to be raised. I think he's choking to play on that left-hand side rather than the right. Next week for me against Kilmarnock, it would absolutely be Abada and Jota to start on each wing. Because Abada came off today, he came on today, had a great impact, he got a goal right at the end as well, a fantastic goal at that. I think that is very telling in that second half where Jota should be in the park, and that's the left hand side. So the second half, what can I really say about the second half? It's not much, and that annoys me. I hate coming on to these match reviews as if I'm not informed in the game, because I can't really do much about it. You know, there's only so many highlights you can get post game. You know, nothing's really there yet. I'm not going to sit and wait for Sports Scene tonight to make a video. But look, listen, by the sounds of things, Celtic deserved their 3 points. Let me touch on Moritz Jens for a moment, because I thought Moritz Jens today was absolutely brilliant on his debut. I was very impressed with what we've seen of him. I thought he looked confident, composed. He was good at carrying the ball forward. Nothing really fazed him. You know, he was thrown in by surprise. Stephen Welsh apparently out with an illness of some sort. That's the reason he didn't play today. So Moritz Jens really came into the team, much to everybody's surprise, I think. And he handled it really, really well. He looked so natural. And of course, he gets his first goal on a debut for the club. Fantastic. A headed goal from a corner as well. This is everything we've been asking for in the centre half, I think. We want someone who can convert chances like that. I think he could be huge for Celtic. You know me, I love a German. I absolutely bloody love a German. And to see one start off with his Celtic career in such great fashion is really pleasing. But I thought he just fitted like a glove today. And it raises another good question for the centre half issue, doesn't it? I think that Starfelt will come back into the team. He will resume as the preferred partner to Cameron Carter-Vickers. But if Jens gets chances and Jens continues to play like that, then there is absolutely no reason at all why he can't, you know, ask the question, does he deserve to be in the team? So we'll just need to, it's all about patience once more. We just need to wait and see. There's no point in jumping to conclusions and bandwagons and suggesting that that's settled. But I was really impressed from what I seen on his first appearance today. Greg Taylor, again today, fantastic. Deserves a very special mention for his performance. I think he just looks so hungry right now to keep that shut. And of course, we signed Bernabei. He comes in. The question's raised if he's going to be the new starting left back after spending a decent amount of money on him. Taylor's not having it. And I love that. You know, and this is very healthy in this squad to have competition for places. And it's helping a player like Taylor. He's came on leaps and bounds since the turn of the year. And it continues on with another great performance today. Defensively, good. Offensively, good. And he's really putting to bed a lot of the criticisms that, including me, had of him before 2022. So fair play to Taylor. I thought he was brilliant. And once again, there wasn't really for me a bad performance in the park. I was disappointed with a couple in terms of the expectations and the levels that you expect. But you know, there's no one there that deserves heavy criticism. I think we could see better from some. Brilliant. Kyogo gets a goal, fantastic. Jens gets a debut goal, and to have a bad on the score sheet off the bench as well is fantastic to seal off all 3 points. Absolutely love that. And that's basically all I can comment on in regards to the second half. Listen, a tough game. We remain top of the league for the moment as well, which is great. Goal difference, 5 goals scored this season, so Abada's goal helped us right at the end with that as well. But some great performances from Jota and Taylor and Jens for me. I think these were the 3 standouts, and I've kind of given 3 things that we've learned through that video, haven't I? I spoke on Jens, I spoke on Jota, and I spoke on maybe Abada starting next week. So you could take that as you like. You've learned things that probably shouldn't have with the lack of coverage in today's game. The streams were absolutely awful. There you go. That'll do it for the match review. I'm sorry if it's not to the standard or the quality that you would normally expect. Very difficult. Hopefully not as many issues with the game against Kilmarnock next week. That is televised. And with my next match review, I'll be doing it from a balcony in Spain as well. So a change of backdrop for you. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Make sure to hit like and subscribe. Still top of the league. 3 points for Celtic. Couldn't be much better to say today. Thank you. Cheerio.